motivation, because The View is live. Borderlines. America's reacting to the president's primetime pitch for the wall.
This is a humanitarian crisis, a crisis of the soul.
And the Democratic response.
The president has chosen fear. We want to start with the facts.
Who came out on top? Plus, Terry Crews on emceeing America's Got Talent, The Champions, and how he handled his own real-life Me Too moment. And it's Ladies Who Lunch when celeb chef Jamie Oliver teaches Whoopi how it only takes 5 ingredients to cook like a pro. Hump Day Hot Topics are on the table with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Megan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
The guy in the White House hit prime time last night to make his pitch for the border wall, and here's what he says is at stake.
There is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border. Among those hardest hit are African Americans and Hispanic Americans. As part of an overall approach to border security, law enforcement professionals have requested $5.7 billion for a physical barrier. At the request of Democrats, it will be a steel barrier rather than a concrete wall. This barrier is absolutely critical to border security.
So the fact checkers had a field day with some of these. But what are your takeaways from it?
Well, first of all, the Democrats never gave them any kind of a wall. No steel, no concrete, no straw, nothing.
No beaded wall, nothing.
Nothing. No beaded, what did you call it? A curtain beading, yeah. So that's a lie right there. Well, I don't know why he...
Well, he was saying that, like, Chuck Schumer, for example, did vote for this barrier back under the Bush years.
This is the quote. The progress includes construction of 630 miles of border fence that created a significant barrier to illegal immigration on the southern land border. That's from 2009, Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, and then the Democrats also agreed to an actual wall last January in exchange for the Dreamers.
So why didn't they give it to them? Why didn't they do
actually,
it
the president pulled out. I thought he made a mistake in that moment and pulled out of it. And now here we are. I'm upset about last night, Whoopi, because I was watching Dirty John, which is, by the way, a great show on Bravo. Binge watching it, and I can't get this time back. I thought it was pathetic. I thought we got nowhere from what we heard last night. We're still now in a government shutdown. I really don't like the president in this type of setting because I think it comes across...
What setting do you like him in?
Well... whether you like what he says to the rallies, I think he's far more himself and comfortable around people that he knows like him back.
I know, but then he really goes off the wall when he talks off the cuff.
Yeah.
Then you don't know.
Well, that's just him being real. I'm just saying, watching this last night, it's really uncomfortable, and this is why he doesn't like to do these. He didn't want to do that.
But you know what? Nancy and Chuck looked like they were being held hostage.
I know. Well, I will say, you know, when he started out with it, he said it strains public resources and drives down jobs and wages. Among those hardest hit are African Americans and Hispanic Americans. So as an African American and a Hispanic American, that for me really was dog whistle, because what it meant was straining public resources is oftentimes dog whistle for welfare. And for the 100th time, there are more white Americans on welfare than there are black Americans and Hispanic Americans. So you know, that racial trope thrown in there right at the beginning was very offensive to me. And the sort of, you know, it drives these, you know, undocumented immigrants, drives down jobs and wages. For the 100th time, African American women are the most educated in the United States of America, and so we aren't taking those jobs. We're taking much higher earning jobs. And so I think when he started out this speech with these dog whistle politics, I just thought, so here you go again as the divider in chief.
Right. Here's the thing that continues to be a source of slight irritation for me. He said, Americans, the taxpayers, all Americans, that we were not going to be paying for this wall.
Because who was going to pay for the wall?
He said Mexico was going to pay for the wall. Now, that's what his promise was.
Over 200 times.
Over 200 times he said it. And, well,
You know,
that's the point of it.
and that is, and for me, you know, whether the Democrats were going to give him money, I don't understand why, on top of everything else now, America has to pay for this wall. I don't get it. I don't like it. It's BS. You said we wouldn't have to. Keep that promise.
Right.
Keep that promise. That's my
Steve Schmidt, did you see
security, yes.
Did you see Steve Schmidt on
I try not to look at Steve Schmidt doing anything as a joke.
Oh, he's so fabulous. I mean, I know you have a personal
Political people will get that joke. Can I say something now?
Let me just say this one thing, because we could be chanting this now. He said yesterday on Nicole Wallace, where are the pesos? I thought that is a good way to chant against what you're saying. Where are the pesos?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah, the Mexican currency.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a cheap talking point on his part, but whatever. Okay, so the crisis at the border, according to a Morning Consult political poll conducted January 4th through 6th, found 79% of all voters in the country think that there is a crisis or problem with illegal immigration on the southern border. Ben Shapiro had the best tweet, I think. All Democrats have to do is not be crazy to win 2020, because we have so much crazy right now. And when I see people like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez doing her own rebuttal, which, by the way, was far more concise than Chuck and Nancy on Rachel Maddow last night, and she was basically demonizing border agents and ICE. The problem is, whether liberals like it or not, border security is a big issue for Americans. It's one of the major reasons Trump got elected president.
I don't think anyone has any problem with the border security. I don't think that's the issue.
It's the barrier.
It is the wall that I think
when you're
Democrats
talking about getting rid of ICE, which is what she was referencing, and by the way, many candidates have come on and said as well. I believe Kristen Gillibrand, Cynthia Nixia did. It's now become one of the trends on the far left that is coming toward the middle. There's no victory lap
towards the middle.
I'm glad you don't think that.
I think most Democrats believe in border security. I think this crisis is perhaps a humanitarian crisis, but it's a crisis started by this president, because this president is the one that separated families.
There are still children who are kept in cages at the border. Two children have died. To me, that is a humanitarian crisis.
He started.
He started that.
That policy was started under Obama, which we said that numerous times on the show.
Separate children from their
started the policy that was put in place. Who's yelling, tell it? I don't know if you're heckling me or supporting me, but I hope you're supporting me right now. But there's a policy that was put in place under President Obama that President Trump decided to enact. So that policy was put in place.
Was not under Obama.
It's a policy that was put in place under the Obama administration. What I'm trying to tell you is, if Democrats want to win in 2020, don't demonize people that want hard border security. And Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is a huge voice in the party.
But she's not a huge. Please stop. She's not a huge voice in the party. She just got here.
Awkward as all holy hell.
We have to go. I'm sorry. We got to go. He's on his knees. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Later, inside Manafort, how Paul Manafort's own lawyers just accidentally exposed the Mueller investigation's bombshell accusations against him. This week on The View, days of hot topics, your January's about to heat up.
You want to finish this conversation?
No.
Yes. And this is The View.
This week on ABC. Champions host Terry Crews. And the ladies are lunching with celebrity chef Jamie Oliver.
Hey, welcome back. So, after the guy in the White House finished his Oval Office address, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi shared a podium before they left. But people started posting memes before it was over, okay? So they were...
How do you not?
I mean, it just was kind of amazing. Do you have some, y'all?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. American Gothic.
Desperate times call for American Gothic tropes.
I know.
It's kind
Your mother and I want to talk about your flag addiction. It's out of control. I thought that one was so funny.
It really was like parents waiting at home for their kid to get back from the party.
So we just just wanted to let you know, yesterday we were talking about the docuseries Surviving R. Kelly, which has revitalized interest in the child sex abuse allegations against him. Reportedly, there are now investigations being pursued in both Georgia and Chicago. And we'll be keeping an eye on where this goes, and we'll keep you updated. Another interesting, he is denied any wrongdoing and has not been convicted of any crimes connected with the allegations. His Chicago attorney, Steve Greenberg, disputed the claims mentioned in the documentary, calling him another round of stories being used to fill reality TV time, according to the Associated Press. He told ABC News the claims in the series are nothing, and that if Mr. Kelly had done anything wrong, you would be expected to hear the facts, not the pitchfork posse. For investigations, they'll find nothing because he's done nothing wrong. Okay, that's it. I'm not reading anymore. Not reading anymore. We'll see where this goes. Say whatever you say.
That totally changed my opinion. Like, well done, guys. I don't know what we're legally allowed to say, but I stand by what I said yesterday on the show about R. Kelly.
It's all good. So one guy who feels that a woman's age is a matter, is something he should be worried about, is a popular French writer, Jan Moy, who said that older women are invisible to him because a 25-year-old woman's body is extraordinary. A 50-year-old's is not. Boy. Now, by the way, he's also 50, so you know how low everything is hanging on him. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, my God.
Do we have a picture of this guy? Can I see him?
I would like to say to Jan, is that his name, Jan? Jan Moy. Erectile dysfunction is nothing to be ashamed of.
Listen, a 25-year-old may put up with your BS. A 50-year-old woman will not. So that's another reason why you don't want to mess with women over 50.
I don't know. It was interesting to me. We were saying in the Hot Topics meeting that
he's just such a jackass.
I know,
it's so ridiculous.
But I wonder if a lot of 50-year-old men do feel that way, because you do see this trend of older men dating younger women, and maybe it's because there are younger women that
they'll put up with it.
Put up with that kind of stuff. Because I just turned 50, and I know I don't put up with a lot of things I would put up with.
I know I'm not playing with, but
why cut yourself off in life and dating in general? Like, when I was dating, try everything. Everything's people are wonderful. And also, have you seen my mother? She's 64.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
the women at this table,
like 106
my nana's 107. Like, I just don't understand why you have to say things like that.
And women are living so much longer. We're healthier.
And we're not worried about people like him.
Yeah.
Women are not thinking about him.
No.
They're running corporations. They're running for office.
But is he just being honest?
Well, it's probably something to do with evolution. I mean, they have all this sperm to spare. They don't know what to do with it.
That's what I'm talking about. Boom, boom, boom.
They got the sperm.
Do that again.
And then the women don't want to be bothered.
Do they want to impregnate young women?
No,
yes.
it's not. A lot of them do because it makes them feel young when they have
I think it makes them feel.
So it's all right. But before we go, we're going to show you one more Frenchie who's offending some people at my house. Actually, at my daughter's house. It's her dog, Limbo Louie. Check him out. This big. We'll be right back. He's only this big.
Hey, it's Terry Crews, and I hope you'll watch me host America's Got Talent, The Champions. Look, I don't like to brag, but I have a few challenges myself. Like, I'm up next. Like, I'm up next.
So, okay, that happened right before the break. Joy, you told me
I was texting my husband, make lunch for me, please. I didn't even say it.
How much do you miss in the day, Joy? Cute guys just dancing next to you. You just have your head in your phone.
He was doing something with his pecs that were quite interesting.
Yes, well, we'll bring him out Guys, you know, he's a big, bad, fabulous man from America's Got Talent, among other things. Champions, the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, stealing the show at the Golden Globes. And as I was trying to figure out what I was reading, look, never mind, we'll figure it out. Come on out, Terry Crews.
Pectoral. You know what? She's over it, just like my wife. She's like, I'm done with it. She's
not even smiling.
She's like,
So the name of the show is America's Got Talent.
The Champions.
The Champions. That's what I was trying to read, but I saw Champions and I didn't know where it fit in the conversation.
I understand.
So that's okay.
Sometimes it goes faster than you're reading. So we all love you on the show. We were watching the Golden Globes, all of us here, I think other than Whoopi.
No, I didn't watch.
You really stole the show. Where does your energy come from? We have shots. I mean, you just don't stop.
Look, first of all, all my energy comes from ground.
Days of Hot Topics.
100%. You're talking to a little kid from Flint, Michigan. I remember being at home in my room, looking out the window, saying, one day I gotta make it. One day I gotta do something. I want to make a difference. And then to be here, I mean, in Hollywood, doing the things that I'm doing, to have the career I've had to span over 20 years. You're talking, you know, tens of movies, 100 hours of television. It's like, to do what I'm doing is a blessing. It's one of those things where if you don't appreciate it, you don't deserve it.
That's it.
That's right. I hear that.
Well, you know, I'm a fool for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I love that show. Oh, my God. And they canceled it last year, but it got picked up immediately by a different network. And now the new season premieres tomorrow. How happy are y'all?
Oh, first of all, I call it the zombie show. You know what I mean? Because we were dead. We were dead. It was gone. And, you know, I was sitting back so chilling. I'm like, oh, yeah, we doing good. We going to be back. And all of a sudden, it was canceled. I was like, what y'all was talking about? What was that? You know, it was that kind of like, you know, professional, like, we got this, and it was gone. And this is why you really have to appreciate everything. I'm on this big WhatsApp link with all the cast. And when it was over, we were like, you know, I'm so sorry if I never see you guys again. You know, just I want to say I love you. And it was like, oh my God, you know, it was like you're about to put Fido down, you know? And then all of a sudden Fido comes back in and he's happy and he's good. And it's like, oh my God, we're back. Who gets that? Who gets that in this time?
Lucky.
We were canceled and we're back and we're better than ever.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait. You know.
Well, you're a busy man, as Whoopi mentioned. Also, America's Got Talent.
Yes.
The Champions. You're the new host of that show. You're going to have finalists and winners from all over the world. What can we expect from this season? Look at this.
Oh my God, look at that.
The sword swallower.
that's real.
No, that's real. That's real. All of it is real.
This kid, the stand-up, what is
Preacher
it?
Lawson.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely amazing.
That is funny to do.
See, what's so great about this stuff is that it doesn't just deal with singing or comedians. It deals with everything. Singing, comedians, performance artists, magicians, the whole thing. It's like talent all over the place.
Yeah.
And it was a show that I was already watching with my family. I have 5 kids, been married 30 years. That is a family show. My beautiful wife right there. And we were fans. And let me tell you, I turn around and I'm on the show. I'm hosting it. First of all, it's the world's biggest talent show. It needed the world's biggest host. Pound for pound. Straight up.
So, you know, just to switch the tone for a second, you became a very powerful voice in the Me Too movement because you accused a Hollywood agent, I won't mention the agency, of sexually...
Thanks, Joy.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Sexually assaulting you.
Yes.
Right? Now, he, of course, denied it all, right? And then you filed a lawsuit, and what has happened since then?
First of all, you know, he was forced to resign. They came to me and basically said, you were right. basically because I knew I was, and they found out I wasn't going to quit. And you know what was so crazy? I told them, they came to me like, you know, made it as if I was trying to benefit off the Me Too movement.
Yes.
You know, again, that's as toxic as it comes. You know what I mean? It was like, blame the victim. It's you did this, you wanted it somehow. And I'm like, your agent, the head of the motion picture department, comes over to me. I'm with my wife. He molests me at an event.
He grabbed you.
You gotta understand. You gotta understand. People act like I just came out with this thing. I was like, wait, I went to them. I went right to them the next day.
Reported it.
Wait, the next day. And I was like, hey man, what are y'all gonna do about this? They were like, well, what do you want us to do? I said, you telling me he going back to work? They were like, yeah. I said, wait a minute, you don't understand. You can't do that and go back to work. They were like, well, we're doing it, Terry. I said, wait, do you understand that you are treating me less than a human being? And they were like, well, basically, you are.
What? What do you mean by that?
First of all, no. When I met with the head of the agency, I sat there and I said, do you understand what you're doing? Do you understand? I am a client. I've given you millions of dollars, and you are telling me that you want to slap this dude on the wrist, and he gets to go free? And he was like, Terry, do what you got to do.
What does that mean? Go to the police?
Listen, and it's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. And you know what? Another thing, no. First of all, when he said do what you got to do, you know, and this is the thing with me. All my life, I had to deal with terrorists. All my life, growing up in the hood, you deal with gang members on the corner. You deal with drug dealers.
I'm surprised this guy dared to come near you.
Wait, this is crazy. I know it's crazy, but you deal with drug dealers, you deal with gang members. In football, I deal with crazy coaches. I deal with all kind of stuff. People trying to treat me less than human, okay? And then you come to Hollywood and you do this stuff, and a lot of times you just want to keep working. You know, I had a coach that called me Tyrone. I said, my name is Terry Coach. He's like, I like Tyrone. Your name's Tyrone. So you know what I said? Damn it, my name's Tyrone. And I said, man, today I'm not going to die on that hill.
I have to do it,
But you know what? When he looked at me and he told me, hey, man, do what you got to do, Terry. I said, today I die on this hill. I went right to my wife, went home. I told her Hollywood is over. Hollywood's over. And she was like, are you ready? Because she was there. She knew. She said, babe, you ready to do this? I said, we ready. Let's do it. And we took on the biggest agency in the world. And they just knew I was going to be wiped out. They just knew I was going to be done. But I told them I will spend $1 million to win $1. First of all, the women who came forward in the Me Too movement, we all knew it was going on. We knew it was happening. I wrote a book about toxic masculinity in 2014.
You did more than that, though. You testified in front of Congress.
That's right.
As well as a victim of sexual assault. And you talk about this toxic masculinity. Can you explain to us the power of testifying on this in front of Congress and what you mean?
First of all, I have to say, I'm telling you that I'm guilty. I was a toxic man for most of my life. This is something, you got to understand something about masculinity. It's a cult. It's a cult. And when you're talking about a cult, this is why women are like, why don't you understand me? And the guy is like, I don't understand you. I don't know what you are, because you're like Jim Jones or David Koresh. You're totally sold into the cult. And the problem is that we battle people, but you don't battle people. You battle mindsets. Mindsets are evil. And what happens is people can change their mind and all of a sudden change and really do their thing. Men need to concede. Men need to admit we messed this whole thing up. One of the biggest problems in the country right now is the South has never conceded. You can't have healing until you have concession. And the problem is, if men decide we are sorry, we really messed this up, let's correct this, now healing can take place. As long as you're defensive and the whole thing. And let me tell you, I was that guy. I said, the day my wife walked out on me is the day I conceded. It was the day I was like, I got this wrong. I got this wrong. I thought just because I was a man that I was more valuable than my wife and the other women in my life. And I was taught that. It was one of those things that they were like, hey, man, you the man. You the man. And you live this movie. You live in like your own action movie, because most men are masters of delusion. I'm telling you, we are. We live in our own action movie. My wife kept coming in and turning the light on. And I was like, hey, that's my movie. You messing up my movie.
Let me ask you this, and we've been talking about this for a couple of days. I don't know if you've seen the R. Kelly docuseries, but what are your thoughts about what's going on with that?
First of all, this is something that you know, it's been going on in our community, the African American community, for too long. Our churches, our entertainment, our culture has had a whole series of ignoring the molester. Everybody knows. Chris Rock used to make jokes about it. Yeah, you don't want to go over your uncle's house.
It's not just the black community.
No, but
look at the Catholic Church.
First of all, I can only speak for my community. Yeah. That's all I know. I'm just telling you what I know. Right. And I was like, all y'all. Now I was looking at these cats. And I'm like, come on, man. You know you're wrong.
Saying that people were ignoring it because there were black girls involved.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Listen, the last needs to be first. People, you got to understand how this society works, and the whole thing is, it's like no one was going to listen to a black woman basically say that I've been raped, I've been molested, and they're like, well, whatever, you know. And it's wild because it was our people that was ignoring that. And let me tell you, I had enough. When I say toxic, I remember looking the other way. You understand what I mean? Because you go, well, I can't do nothing about it. You know, that's just the way it is. And it's not. Right. And I decided there's no way. By being silent, it slowly means consent. And now we have to speak. And I decided I'm going to talk.
That agent.
I don't care.
What happened to that agent? I don't think he's...
Oh, he's out. He's out.
He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. For many reasons. Yep. One of the things that, before we go, I just also want to say is one of the things that you did was you took it out of being just a woman's issue into being a people's issue. That's right. Because no one wants to be touched if they have not invited it. No one wants to be manhandled or female-handled or whatever those phrases are. Nobody wants that. And so by you saying, listen, it happened to me, and I'm telling you, and I have no fear to tell you this is what happened.
That's right.
Opened the whole world up. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks to Terry Crews. America's Got Talent, the champions, airs Monday nights. Be sure to catch Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Thursday. Check your local listings for everything. Yes, we'll be back.
If you've got a New Year's resolution to cook more, cook healthier, and make it easier, I've got you covered, guys. 5 ingredients, 1 great meal, coming up next.